They say nostalgia isn't what it used to be, and they're probably right. One thing that definitely isn't what it used to be is scambaiting. In this short episode, we'll take a look at one thing that's changed significantly over the years I've been doing this. So let's start at the end and look at what could easily be an inclusion in the scammers who dumped me. Someone called Jane emailed me to say hello. I replied, hi. Jane then wrote back to me with what was obviously a pre-written sad story, but let's read some of it. Let's get to know better, read down, please don't ignore. My name is Mrs. Jane. I am France by origin, but I am in Senegal hospital now. Age 28. Last year, February, I feel sick. When I was rushed to the hospital, the doctor confirmed that I am suffering from cancer of the lungs. On this faithful day, it was a date that will now forever be burned in my head, and it was heartbreak news that came from my doctor, and I hate even thinking about it. This is honestly the last thing I thought I would ever face in my life. At this moment, my life is meaningless. All I need is your encouragement and constant communication and prayers. Oof, pretty hard start there. She goes on. I was married to a man that I love so much, and as the only child of my late parents, my late father willed all his properties to my husband because of the love we have between each other, by then not knowing that my husband is a gold digger. I don't know he's after my father wealth. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with being a prospector. Those guys work really hard and they have amazing beards. I won't hear a bad word about them. But anyway, she continues. Immediately my husband hear about my sickness, he turn his back on me. He hardly come to see me at the hospital as if he has been waiting for me to die. 2 months later my illness becomes so much on me that I was fly from France to Phoenix Indian Medical Center, PIMC, United States for better treatment. I am a dying woman and I decided to donate what I have to you for charity work, assistance to less privileged people in the society in case if I die. Later on, I was directed to one of the best hospitals in Senegal. My dear, do you know that my husband left me in hospital after 1 week and travelled back to France, giving me a promise that he will always come back to check on me every 2 weeks. But for good 4 months, my husband did not come to see me, even when he knows he cannot call me on phone because of my illness. I cried all the night. My dear, do you know that upon all the massage I have been sending to my husband, he never reply. I told him that he should prepare divorce document and come to USA with our family lawyer that I want a divorce. Just the next week my husband arrived to USA with our lawyer. When I saw him I cried and remember what my late father told me when he was alive, that this man don't love me, but because I am in love with him I did not listen to my father. And then, somewhat randomly in huge text, I will relocate and visit you in your country if I survive, just stand by me. We finally divorced and my husband paid the sum of $3.7 million USA dollars into my account and go his way. The shock on what is happening to me increased my illness to the level that the doctor told me face to face that I would not last for the period of 5 months due to cancer problem, unless God intervenes. Since then I have no other option than to tell the doctor to look for a reverend father that will be praying for me until the day of my death. To God be the glory, the doctor told Father John Mark about my problem. I know with prayers God can do anything at all time. Nothing is impossible with God. I want to relocate to your country to start a new life if I survive this illness. And send me your picture and phone number, okay? If you are willing to take care of this fund, reply so that I will give you the bank contact for you to get in touch with them. I will be waiting for your kind response as soon as possible. Yours, Jane. Now, we've heard stories like this before, of course. I suppose it makes a refreshing change that in this case the dying philanthropist is a divorcee and not a widow. Anyway, one of the things I like most about scambaiting, or I used to like, is the opportunity to write completely nonsensical and absurd replies and get away with it. So here's what I tried. Dear Jane, it's interesting to hear that you were once France. For a long time I believed I was Switzerland, but it later turned out that I was merely virtue signalling my calculated position of neutrality on a collection of important issues, as well as my great expertise in making high-quality chocolate confectionery. I think you've possibly been a little harsh on your husband, and maybe you should give him another chance. He must have been quite good at gold prospecting if he was able to pay you $3.7 million. I say maybe let bygones be bygones and seek reconciliation. If done carefully, this can be achieved in less than the stated 5-month period. And that was it. It was over. Here in 2020, that sort of reply is enough to make the average scammer realise that you're not at all serious, and as a result, Jane dropped me. I never heard anything back. So now let's wind the clock back a little over 10 years and look at a previous case. I received an email, the subject of which was, "Are you still alive?" which read, "Attention beneficiary. My names are Inspector Walmsley Geoffrey Robert from Metropolitan Police UK. There is presently a counterclaims on your funds by one Mr. John Lewis, who is presently trying to make us believe you are dead, and even explained that you entered into an agreement with him before your death to help you in receiving your fund of $2 million US. So here comes the big question. Did you sign any deed of agreement in favour of John Lewis? He further claimed that you died on the 24th of June 2006 and you have been buried. thereby making him the current beneficiary with his following account details. Mr. John Lewis with these bank details at the Bank of American. We shall proceed to issue all payments details to the said Mr. John Lewis if we do not hear from you within the next 2 working days from today. So that's right, apparently the police get involved in bank transfers now. So with only 2 short days to prove that I'm not dead, I've made sure to wait about a week, and then I replied, "Dear Mr. Robert, thank you for your email. I'm very sorry that I've been slow in replying. I see that the deadline you specified of 2 working days from the 31st of July has long gone. I was terrified when I realised this, but it was unfortunately unavoidable because I've been unable to check my email for a couple of weeks as I've been in hospital having my legs shortened. I can't believe this John Lewis character is claiming that I'm dead. I was unwell for a long period in 2006, but they never did actually bury me, and as a result of this I was able to recover. However, I also had no idea there was a fund of value $2 million coming my way. It's no exaggeration at all when I tell you that this is quite surprising. And I can think of 5 or 6 different things I could spend a small amount of this money on. Also, I think you are right in saying that it's a big question. 3 extra scroll bars appeared on my computer when I tried to read it. Whew. Anyway, I guess if it's not completely too late, I probably ought to try and claim this money. So, what's next, eh? Cheers, Mr. Kendall Mintycake, Esquire. Mr. Walmsley Geoffrey Robert replied without batting an eye in an email with a quite delightful but somewhat childish attempt at a letterhead, saying, Metropolitan Police UK, right justified. UK Investigation Bureau, 74 Princess Street, M16JD, UK. Motto, no body is above the law. Attention, Kendall Mintycake. We received your email, and we will like you to get back to us as soon as possible. We need to get Mr. John Lewis arrested today. We're currently investigating this whole matter, but right now we're going to make sure you receive what rightfully belongs. We're going to send you all the documents that were sent to us by John Lewis claiming that you were dead. Once received, you rely back to us. We will tell you what to do next. Do you want the bank to proceed on the transferring of funds to Mr. John Lewis? We just wonder why all this delay by you and the caused. You should provide us today with the below information so that we can proceed you with Metropolitan Police stop today. And of course they wanted all of my personal details. You know the sort of details you should never share with a stranger on the internet. Forward the above information to us immediately. Let us know immediately you today. Now, leaving aside the obvious questions about why the police would be getting involved in a confirmation of a bank transfer, I replied, "Thank you for your email. Yes, it sounds like a really good idea for you to arrest John Lewis, so please go ahead and do that. I'm surprised you need my permission for that. Aren't you the police?" Before we proceed any further, perhaps you can clear up one tiny question that still exists in my mind. That question is this one. What the heck is all this about anyway? What is this $2 million that you're talking about? Looking forward to hearing from you again. He said, "Do you think this is a joking issue? And I must let you know that we are doing everything to make sure that your fund is released to you as soon as possible. I'm sending you the attached identity card for you to know who truly I am. You should get us all the needed information immediately." I replied, "I'm not joking. I just want to know where this funds come from. It's not every day that I inherit $2 million unexpectedly, but you haven't told me what this is all about." He responded, "Our files show that you have a beneficiary of the fund. When we get the needed details, we will give you more light and explain to you in details." I said, "It seems very strange to me that you won't tell me where this beneficiary fund is coming from. Has a rich relative of mine died recently? I'm a little uncomfortable sending my personal details by email, as I know there are dishonest types out there on the internet who might intercept the message and use my information for fraudulent purposes. Maybe this business can be conducted via a representative at my local police station instead? Anyway, please tell me where the beneficiary fund is coming from so that we can proceed." Things went a bit quiet, so I sent a little more nonsense. I just checked in my local services directory, and the contact name of my local police officer is Superintendent Peter Weeble. Have you heard of him? Should I call him and ask him to make contact with you so that I can securely transfer my personal details to you? Still no response, so I decided to give him what he asked for, my identification details. All completely fabricated, of course. My name is Kendall Nevis Snowden Mintycake. My contact address, Merchant Street, London E3. Nationality British. Occupation cash office clerk. Sex male. Age 55. No land telephone or mobile telephone number. Marital status single. Divorced thrice. Employer Transport for London. I'm sorry that I'm not contactable by telephone at all. I have no phone in my flat, and my mobile phone broke when I dropped it in one of my buckets of lemon juice. At work, I'm not allowed to receive personal calls in the cash office. I hope this helps you progress the case. Now, will you please tell me where this inheritance fund is coming from? No reply, so a few days later I asked, "Any more news today? Have you arrested Mark Spencer yet?" The scammer replied, "Hopefully by tomorrow morning we will get back to you with all the full informations and how to get the fund transferred. Get back to us." I said, understood that you're arranging the transfer, but I really want to know if you successfully arrested that imposter who said I was dead. He said, we have arrested John Lewis this morning. Currently now we are communicating with the bank so that they can release your funds to you. Once we are done, all the documents and the bank contact will be sent to you. I said, thanks for the update. That's good news and a massive relief to hear. I think it's truly despicable that John Lewis tried to commit such a horrible act of fraud. Don't you agree? How do these people sleep at night? Have they no conscience at all? The scammer said, we will conclude with the bank today. I replied, thanks so much for your email. This is encouraging news. However, I found your last email a little brief and blunt. I think it would be nice if you would please take the time to answer my conversational questions about John Lewis and his terrible fraudulent behaviour. Also, what crimes will he be charged with? And now, only now, did the scammer drop me. I guess they must have passed my details on to a higher-ranking scammer for the actual extraction of funds, and that person probably noticed something about the stories of me, Kendall Minty Cake, getting my legs shortened, dropping my phone in buckets of lemon juice that didn't quite ring true. But up until that point, we had a couple of weeks of lovely nonsense. It's much rarer for that to happen these days. Scambaiting ain't what it used to be. Anyway, I hope that was fun. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.
I beg you